Hi everyone, welcome to today's video, and this is going to be the start of a little series that I'm going to do about frugal living. Now, we're all trying to save a bit of money at the moment, or try not to give it all to the electricity and gas companies, and Martin and I 11 years ago now, we both were teachers and we gave up our teaching jobs, we took voluntary redundancy and we moved down to Devon. We completely changed our lifestyle and we got into some really good frugal habits the first sort of year that we moved, because it took us a while to set up our little business and we didn't really have any money coming in, so we got into some really good habits, and some of them seem really quite simple, but I personally just hadn't thought of them. When I was working full time, I was busy, I just didn't think of these things. And actually, we've kept living in quite a frugal way, for, like I say, for the last 10 years. So I just thought I'd share some of what we do in case it might be helpful for anybody. I'm sure you've all got great ideas as well. And I thought I'd do this. I'll do like 5 tips, because I've got a whole massive list of things that we do. I'll do 5 tips per episode, as it were, and then otherwise the videos will be too long and you'll all be bored of me rambling on. So yeah, 5 tips for frugal, simple living. So tip number 1 is, and I think this was the biggest thing for us, was that we realised that it was much cheaper to keep ourselves warm than it was to heat the house, and we actually made the decision to not have any central heating at all. Now, I know that's quite extreme, and obviously I'm not suggesting that you completely get rid of your central heating. We live in South Devon and it's actually quite mild there, and we also usually spend about 3 months of the winter in Fuerteventura, so we only generally have a couple of months of kind of the coldest weather, whatever. So yeah, I don't think I could do without heating completely if I lived in Scotland, or even in Hampshire actually, where we used to live, it did used to get really cold. But anyway, what I would say is make putting the heating on the last thing you do. I used to be terrible. First thing I'd do, put the heating on, I'd be walking around in a vest or a t-shirt with the heating on. No, not anymore. So first thing is what you wear. Layer up. First thing I do in the winter every day is when I get up, I put a long sleeve thermal on and long johns. You could use tights if you don't want to wear long johns. And then obviously extra layers. And what I would say is buy the best that you can afford in terms of your thermal layer, because the better quality, the longer it will last and the warmer it will keep you. And again, if you've got kids or whatever, get them the best that you can afford. You can look around charity shops for things. We got a brilliant big, I'll put a picture of it up, a big like coat sort of jacket thing, and it's like fleece inside and then it's woolen outside, and it is the warmest thing ever. I think we picked it up about 4 or 5 years ago for about £4 in a charity shop, and it's brilliant. It actually was Martin's, but I quite often wear it now. I've stolen it. So yeah, any socks. I've got one of these like snood things. It's like a scarf, but it's joined together, and I pull that up over my head sometimes, or if you've got a hoodie, you can do this. Yeah, just layers, dressing gowns, onesies, whatever you like, whatever you can afford, whatever you've got already. Thick socks are good. Like I said, tights. I did get one of my thermal tops actually from Primark, and it was, I don't know, £3 or something, and it's actually quite good, I have to say. So that's my first tip, and I think that is the one thing that's really massively changed our electricity bill. And right now we're going into the winter, And actually last week Martin had to ring up the electricity company because they actually owe us £300. So he wanted to have some of it back in our bank account. Why should it be in theirs, you know? And so yeah, we're going into the winter with a little bit of a buffer. And I know, although the prices have gone up, so our bill will go up, I know we're not going to be spending an absolute fortune on heating. Well, hopefully not. We do have heaters. We've got like a couple of plug-in electric heaters. And if we get really cold, we do put them on. But like I said, it is the last thing that we do. So we try to keep ourselves warm with layers on. We also have around the house, and again, you can buy these in charity shops, or you know, maybe you've already got some rugs, throws, blankets, whatever you want to call them. Leave them around your house. I have them over every sofa, on the back of every chair. When you sit down, pull a blanket over you, wrap it round you, wherever you need it. It'll just keep you a bit warmer. And again, costs nothing once you've bought them. The other thing is hot packs, heat packs. This one's actually a wheat bag. I think I got this one off of eBay. But I have also made some. You can buy specially treated wheat, get it sent to you if you've got a sewing machine, use some old fabric scraps, or you could use hot water bottle if you prefer. But these are brilliant, you know, because it just warms you up. You can put them on your feet. I often have one on my back. Yeah, brilliant things. I couldn't do without mine. We also in our house make use of just really simple things, like if you're not using a room, close the door. Make sure the heating's switched off in there, close the door. Use draft excluders. You know, a lot of frugal living actually, I think you can get a lot of inspiration from what our grandparents and ancestors used to do, because they were actually much more savvy than us, in my opinion. So things like draft excluders, if you have them, put up thicker curtains in the winter. A friend of mine lives in a very old drafty, very beautiful Victorian townhouse, and she was having a problem keeping it warm, and she realised that when the wind was blowing, it was basically blowing through her front door. Or round the sides of it anyway. So she made herself, she can sew a really thick curtain, and she puts it up in the winter, pulls it across her door, and it's made a massive, massive difference. A lot of people back in the day used to have winter and summer curtains, and they would change them. Maybe you don't want to be bothered with all that, but even just sometimes pulling the curtains a bit earlier in the winter might help keep the heat in and keep the draft out. Like I say, close doors. Our bedroom, if the sun is out, gets lovely and warm because the sun shines into it. So I always make sure I keep the curtains open in there. But our sewing room is not on the side of the house that gets the sun. So I pull the curtains in there, pull the blind down and shut the door. So it's just about knowing your house and knowing where is warm and where's not warm. You know, could you change what activity you're doing? So for example, if you're sitting down doing something in a room that's particularly cold, is there somewhere else you could go and do that? Could you swap things around for the winter? That just have a think about it. Don't necessarily just keep doing everything the same. Have a think about your heating, lots of clothes, hot packs. What else have I written down? I think that's it. Oh, and like I say, a little plug-in heater. We call our one the kebab heater. I'll put a picture of it and you'll see why. But that will heat up a room in about 15 minutes if you close the doors. So we bung that on, heat up the room and then switch it off. Much, much cheaper than putting, you know, the heating on for the whole house. So yeah, that tip number 2 is to shop from home. So if you try and do this every now and again, you'll save a lot of money because you'll waste less food. Now, I don't know about you, but I buy all random things thinking they're wonderful. They go in the cupboard, I forget about them, and then they go out of date. So every now and again, I get everything out of my cupboards and I make a point of using things up. And I make a point of that week, and I call it shopping from home. So I do my shop from my cupboards, from my freezer, from my fridge. And it's a really good habit to get into. I'm going to actually try and do it each week now before I go and do my shopping, so that you can use up stuff, so that you're not throwing things away, which will save you loads of money in the long run. And you know, it's a crying shame to throw food away, so I do try not to do it. But yeah, that's another thing that's really helped. Tip number 3 is to think about things that you use. Can you get a reusable alternative so that you don't have to keep buying the thing? Now, there's loads and loads of options out there. I'll give you a few examples, and it might not be relevant for you, but it might be as well, so it might give you an idea. So for example, I've used for years and years a moon cup and reusable sanitary products, pads. I started using them basically because they are better for the environment, and also things like tampons and sanitary towels are made using bleached cotton, which is not good for your body. Actually, it's not good to have that kind of toxic stuff in your body or so close to your body. So I've used a moon cup and reusable sanitary towels for, I don't know, maybe 7 years now, which has saved me a lot of money. And actually, I'm still using the ones I bought all those years ago, so you don't have to replace them. They are very, very good. I got mine from a company called Earthwise Girls, and they were fairly expensive, but like I say, I've not had to replace them at all, and it saved me so much money. I don't know how much I would spend each month on sanitary products, but I never buy anything. So that's one thing. But there's other things. There's things like you could use handkerchiefs instead of tissues. You can buy you can buy or make reusable kitchen towel. You can, which I do actually, use reusable cotton pads for taking off makeup and all the rest of it. I actually made mine because I can sew, but again, you can buy them relatively inexpensively. You can use things in the kitchen. You can use things like beeswax wrap. I use these microwave plastic plate cover things. I'll put a picture. And they're brilliant because they're reusable. You don't have to use cling film. Saves a few pennies, and they cost, I think they must have cost £1 each, something like that. I think I got them in Wilko's a few years ago, but you could probably get them online as well. If you have kids, I know a friend of mine, she has a baby and she uses the reusable nappies, which again did cost her a bit when she first bought them, but she's not had to buy any nappies since. And also the baby wipes, you can use reusable ones of those as well. I mean, I don't have a baby, so I don't know anything about that, but I'm just saying, I think you can get reusable coffee, where you know the little coffee pods, you can fill them up, so you're not, again, it's all very good for the environment as well, but it's also good for our bank balances because we're not paying out each time to buy all these things. Tip number 4, and I'm always going on about this, is batch cooking. I love it, absolutely love batch cooking. It's great when you're trying to be on a diet or doing healthy eating, because more often than not you've got something there, so you're going to eat it, it's healthy, you've put loads of veg in it, whatever, brilliant. But it is also very, very economical. It's very economical in terms of nothing goes to waste because you cook and then you portion everything up, you freeze what you're not going to eat, and you leave out what you are going to eat, you can then save money as well, because you've only had to cook in the oven or on the hob or the slow cooker, or however you've done your batch cooking. You've only have to do that once, and then you can microwave the portions later on. So yeah, that it is one of my things that I've often done. I really like batch cooking. There's loads and loads of YouTube videos about batch cooking, and I promise I will do some more videos on it as well when I get home throughout this winter. I really want to do loads more stuff in my slow cooker, so I will definitely show you that. But yeah, I mean, a couple of weeks ago I basically cooked the whole of our lunches for the whole week on Monday. So I only put the oven on once, and I did the whole lot. And I, as well as the meals for that week, I also did enough, which we'll probably have next week or the week after. So got a load of stuff in the freezer as well. So that's another good one, I think, is batch cooking. And my last tip for this video, I told you these were a bit random, and I'll have 5 more in the next video, but the last one for this one is have a bit of a change of mindset. Practice gratitude. This was something I had to really try hard with when we first moved, and I had to be pleased and happy with what we already had. Be happy with our house, happy with our car, happy with all my clothes, all the things that I already have, and stop comparing myself to other people and wanting what other people have got. It's hard, it is hard, especially these days when you're on social media and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all the rest of it, TikTok, and everyone's showing all these wonderful new things. But actually, to just take a step back and say, I'm grateful for what I've got, it really changes your mindset, and it will save you money in the long run, trust me. It like I say, it's taken a bit of practice. I write a gratitude journal every day. I still do it. Well, I have little breaks from it sometimes, but I really enjoy doing it. And yeah, I don't compare myself to anybody else anymore, and I'm just happy with what I've got generally. So I'll leave it there for now. If you've got any good ideas, pop them in the comments below. Like I say, I've got a massive long list, but I didn't want to do them all in one video because it would have been so long. So I'll catch you again soon for 5 more frugal tips. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.